Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Observe Day podcast. Today's episode is a deeply important one. As we honor National Suicide Prevention Month, our guest is internationally known as the Love Doctor, Anil Gupta. After overcoming his own battle with suicide in 2008, Anil has dedicated his life to helping people all over the world heal from trauma, build lasting happiness, and nurture meaningful relationships. He's a double best-selling international author, a TEDx speaker, and he has shared the stage with leaders like Richard Branson, LeBron, and even had the honor of meeting the Dalai Lama. And he has worked with everyone from celebrities to everyday people, guiding them towards self-love, forgiveness, and fulfillment. Today we will explore his personal journey, the tools he created like the happiness formula and relationship score, and how we can all play a role in preventing suicide and supporting those who struggle silently. This is going to be a powerful, honest, and life-changing conversation. Welcome to the podcast, Annie.
Okay, thank you, Wisdom, for inviting me. Happy to help.
Yeah. Can you take us back to 2008? What was life like for you during that period?
It was very painful. I'd lost everything in the stock market, real estate. I lost my house. I was going to lose my house, my cars, just the bank fees, the bank deposits are gone for the kids. And it was the worst time of my life. And I was on the verge of suicide. And, if you're thinking about suicide, don't do it. There's always another way. And it was the worst time, but it became my best time.
What helped you step back from the edge of suicide?
So I had to tell my wife, and I said, honey, I have some really bad news for you. I've lost everything, the house, the car, the money for the kids, everything. And she looked up at me, Wisdom, and she smiled. I said, what's wrong with you? Did you not hear what I said? She said, honey, I heard what you said. I thought it was something serious. I said, honey, what are you talking about? There's nothing more serious. She said, honey, you don't get it. I thought you had cancer. I thought you were dying. I don't care about the money. I've never asked you for money. And Wisdom, that was a huge weight off my shoulders. Then she said, you haven't lost everything. You still have me. You still have the kids. We will sleep in the streets if we have to. And that's when everything started.
Wow. That's such an inspiring story.
Beautiful. When you have a partner like that behind you, all your worries disappear.
Yeah. You received the courage to fight the troubles, the war, and all those things, rather than going back home and being you fight outside and you still have to wrestle with your partner. That is draining and robs a man of its own peace.
It happens a lot. A lot of people are very successful, but they're not fulfilled. As you said, they're fighting to make ends meet, and then the last thing they want is to be disrespected at home, complained about, compared, criticized, and it's very painful, and that's demoralizing. And then you think, what's the point? I'm worthless, and then you have stupid thoughts. So we need to increase the self-worthiness in people, improve their communication skills. And remember, when I was down in that dumps, my focus was on money. Then I changed my identity to love, camaraderie, making a difference. So I changed my focus. So I started helping people. I did events, 5 people, 10, 20, 100, 500, eventually 10,000 people, because I started serving. In the moment you give, all your suffering disappears.
Yeah. Looking back, what was the turning point where you decided to say, okay, I'm not only going to leave, but I'm also going to dedicate my life to helping others?
I don't know if I made a dedication to serving others. What happened was I started helping people and I felt good. A friend of mine said, Anil, why don't you do a seminar? You've helped me, you've helped my wife. I said, well, I'm not sure. He said, look, what's wrong? I said, look, what if no one turns up? And he said, Anil, if no one turns up, no one will know. And I thought, great, I'll do it. Because I was so concerned what other people thought of me. That was another thing. I was thinking people would laugh at me, they would take fun of me, but it doesn't matter. None of us are that important.
Yeah, I love what your friend said about no one showing up. That's such a positive way to look at things not going quote unquote as planned, right? If no one shows up, no one will know.
Yeah. Yeah. And, as you can see, I broke my wrist, uh, 5 weeks ago.
What happened?
And then I was upset. I was playing pickleball. I slipped and fell. I had
Oh,
9 fractures,
sorry to hear that.
but I was upset for 10 seconds. You know why, Wisdom? Because it was my left hand. I'm right-handed.
Oh.
So that's the other thing. I became
Yeah,
grateful for what I had. You see,
yeah,
people focus on what they don't have. I don't have enough money. I don't have this. But I started focusing on, I have a beautiful wife. I have somewhere to stay in the meantime. But I'm resourceful. I'll find a way.
yeah. Wow. Suicide, the word suicide it's a taboo topic in many cultures. Nobody wants to talk about it. And for me, I'm curious, why do you think it's so difficult for people to openly talk about their own struggles?
Well, we feel they'll criticize us, they'll laugh at us. We're not good enough, we're not strong, we can't handle things, we're failures. But it's none of that. It's just a victim of circumstance. Everyone goes through something or another. And we're so concerned what other people think. We're so concerned what they will say to us. And, we have to reach out because someone has a solution. Someone said, "Hey, buddy, let me help you." But if you don't share, no one will know because we never know what other people are going through.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. We never know what the other person is going through. For someone who is in a dark place right now, what's the very uh, first step you'd recommend they can take today to move towards hope, light?
The very first thing you do is write down 10 things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for my right hand. I'm grateful that I didn't bang my head. I'm grateful for my teeth, my eyes, my skin, my friendships, my wife, my kids, my ability to change lives. So write down 10, 20, 30, 40 things to be grateful for. The next thing is this: perform random acts of kindness. When you perform an act of kindness, you feel good. The person receiving the act of kindness feels good. The person observing the act of kindness feels good. The person sharing the act of kindness feels good. The person observing the sharing of the act of kindness feels good. So it carries on and on and on. You never know what someone's going through. By you being kind, gentle, caring, loving towards them could make the difference that makes a difference.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that practical recommendation on what to do next. You've developed a lot of tools. One of the tools you've developed is the happiness formula and then the happiness test. And I'm curious, how can we use these frameworks for someone who's struggling with despair or feelings of unworthiness?
Okay. So the formula is this: happiness is equal to G times G times G. So the first is give. The second is gratitude. We talked about those. The third is you have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. Now, whenever you're upset, whenever life is thrown a curveball at you, one of those three buckets falls down substantially. So ask yourself, what's the lowest G? Is it give? Is it grow? Is it gratitude? And keep on working on the lowest G. Work on the lowest G, work on the lowest G, and then everything will rise.
That's the happiness formula, right? Uh,
It is indeed.
okay. What is the happiness test?
The happiness test was a test that I used to do where people answer 25 questions and they get a happiness score. And what I found is that people just couldn't be bothered doing it. So I disbanded it a little while ago, but people would get their happiness score and they would get ideas on how to improve it. But basically, it's very simple. You start giving, you start being grateful, and you start growing, and everything changes. So let me give you an example.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Okay.
If you have a score of one times one times one, your giving level is one, your gratitude is one, your growing is one. So one times one is equal to one. Okay. Now, if you started to give and you started to be grateful and you started to grow and you change it to 2, 2, 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8. So it's gone from 1 to an 8, 8 times increase in your happiness.
Well,
Now, if you change it to 4 times 4 times 4, that's 64. You're 64 times happier.
mm.
It's amazing. The numbers are amazing.
Oh, wow. G times G times G. I'd remember that. Like it's very, very
It's a game
straightforward.
changer.
Yeah.
Game
Yeah.
changer.
Um, you often talk about forgiveness as a path to healing. And for me, I'm curious, what's the role forgiveness played in your own journey after 2008?
So I would beat myself up and I started to forgive myself. So if you listen up, this is very important what I'm about to say. Forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom. The quality of your life is dependent upon the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness you extend to yourself and to others. It's everything.
Oh. Usually, when we hear the word forgiveness thrown around, it's usually, oh, how do you forgive your neighbor? How do you forgive your colleague? How do you forgive your brother, your sister, your partner? But nobody really talks about forgiving yourself.
Yeah, we have to forgive ourselves first because that's the most important person. And then, you know, a lot of people have issues with their parents. And I say to them, what if your parents were never born? What do you mean? Well, if they were never born, that means you weren't
Yeah,
ever been born. That means you and your wife would never have been married. It means that your children would never be here. So the source is your parents. Always honor source. And there are two parts to your parents. There's them and there's their behavior. You don't have to like their behavior, but you can still love them as your
yeah,
seeds.
yeah. Wow, wow. Forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Wow. One of the things I want us to spotlight is while you at the beginning, while you were sharing the story of you telling your wife that I've lost everything. I mean, I've lost the money, the key for the kids and all that. And she was like, no, that's not true. You have us. Right. For me, that is, it goes on to show how important having a healthy relationship, with family, friends, or partners. It acts as a protective cushion against depression and suicide. I mean, what if that conversation had gone a different path where, the moment you're like, oh, I've lost everything, instead of having someone to encourage you, to support you, to say, I'm with you, either rain, sunshine, or whatever happens, to tell you that that can happen. You hear from my lawyer, stuff like that. And you'd have to sign the divorce papers and all that. That what that happens is that a man starts spiraling downwards, and things like that. So for me, what can we do to really encourage and promote a healthy relationship around us, family, friends, such that unfortunate things do happen, so that when those things do happen, we have people to encourage us, to support us.
The golden rule is this: be so amazing you cannot be ignored. If you show up the best version of you wherever you go, you will make great friendships. You will make great relationships. The two most important things in life are relationships and health. There is a documentary called The Blue Zone where people live to be over 100 years old. They all have good relationships. There's no drama. There's no trauma. There's no baggage. There's no complaining. They just live a beautiful life. They get on well. They keep moving. They keep talking. They keep communicating. So keep up with your relationships. Keep forgiving them, yourselves, but maintain your relationships. One day they will need you. One day you will need them. But it's healthy for you. It will add more years to your life and more life to your years.
More health to your life, more life to your years. I love the fact that you focused on us, because at the end of the day, we're the only factor we can control in the equation.
We're the common denominator. Wherever we go, we go.
Wherever we go, we go. Wow, wow. Thank you so
Profound, huh?
much. Yeah, it is. Let us sink in. Wherever we go, we go. And most of the times when people attempt to, to make things better, they forget the most important piece of the puzzle, us, ourselves.
Yeah, us. Yeah, we have to be participating in our own rescue. No one is going to save us. We have to take the initiative. We have to take action. We have to show up.
Yeah. You often say happiness is a choice. For listeners who may not believe that happiness is a choice right now, what ways would you want them to walk away with today?
That this too shall pass. What you focus on is what you get. If you focus on what's missing, you're going to be in pain. But if you focus on what you have left, focus on your gifts. What are you great at? Do you remember the day you were born, how much joy you brought into the world? In fact, you brought joy into the world as soon as your parents found out they were going to have you. So you are worthy. You brought joy into this world. Never, ever, ever forget that. People love you. Even though things may be difficult, it's not permanent. You can handle this. You always have, you always will. Things will change, and this too shall pass.
Yeah. Sometimes it, there are situations that make it seem as though do you really have a choice to be happy? All the possible things that could go wrong are going wrong.
Well, it may seem that way, but the truth is this: things will change. And you can handle this. You always have, you always will. Start by focusing on other people. Start giving, start being grateful. And it's a muscle. It took me 10 seconds to be grateful when I fell down and broke my wrist in nine places, because I'm used to doing that. A lot of people are used to being uncomfortable. They're used to being, in a bad spot. They're used to complaining. But
Yeah.
no one's going to save you. You have to save yourself.
Yeah. No one is going to save you. You have to save yourself. A lot of times we're waiting for someone to come rescue us, right? It doesn't really matter as much as people would encourage us, as much as they would support us, as much as they will not support us, whatever the case might be. We should also always realize that we're the captain. I am the captain of my soul, something like that.
Yeah. And sometimes we want people to save us to prove that they love us. If they loved us, they would save us. But don't do that. It's too dangerous. Because what if they don't?
Yeah. That's living risky, and you gamble with your life. Wow. Thank you so much. I've learned from this shorter episode. I've learned so much. I've learned the happiness formula, the happiness test, G times G times G equals the happiness formula. Uh, I know there are so many other concepts and so many other ideas that you have in your work and in your books. Where can listeners connect with you and also learn more about your books?
So the website is meetanil.com. I've written 3 books, actually, all bestsellers. Immediate Happiness, The Heart Map of Health, The Heart Map of Vitality. They're available on Amazon. I'm available on Instagram too. Anil Gupta _ the Love Doctor. I'm happy to serve. On my website, you'll find a lot of resources on how to lead a richer, fuller, happier life.
Oh, thank you so much, Annie. I would add the links to the description and the show notes so listeners can just click and go directly to the site. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you, Annie.
My pleasure, Wisdom. Thank you for having me, and thank you for listeners for listening in.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.